Gas is trying to get Bichetti's attention. Bichetti, Greg is saying hi.
Hi, Greg. I was in my own little planet. I'm sorry.
It looks like someone shot a bullet. You look like a Bugs Bunny cartoon where someone shot a bullet through the middle of your hair. Does it look like a bullet went right through your hair and parted it? Do you see your hair?
Almost missed.
Oh my God!
Bichetti has such a fan club among stand-up comics that I cannot believe how many phenomenal impressions I've heard of Bichetti.
I know.
Thank you,
there's a guy, Don Jameson.
I've seen it. It's unbelievable.
It's phenomenal.
It's the best. One of the best. Aside from some of your stuff, one of the best impressions I've ever seen.
I think it's the best impression I've ever heard of anyone.
I'm surprised you don't do one.
I never even thought it didn't even dawn on me, and I hear Don do it, and I go, all right, well, I can't touch it now.
Don gets the physical part too.
Yeah. And it's something like, am I right or am I right? Am I right? Yeah.
Listen, he gets listen.
It's amazing.
How do you come about doing these impressions? Do you have to work on it for a while?
Just have an ear for it, really.
Work it out in the mirror, and growing up, I know that it kind of originated because your parents didn't speak. Well, they were deaf.
They're deaf, yeah.
And so
that is an amazing story.
Yes,
you didn't learn to speak from listening to them. You learned by watching
TV, and I copied all the voices I heard on TV.
So you're a great mimic.
And so I would, some voices get stuck in my head. Like there's a sound that Artie makes that when he starts into a sentence where he goes, and it's like before he starts a sentence, it's like there's an engine revving up. There's like sounds that get stuck in my head. And I've told you this before.
A wonderful engine.
Comics are so insensitive about talking to me about my deaf family. I was at the club around the corner here, and Artie Fuqua is in the club.
Yep.
He's standing next to Tracy Morgan. He's pointing at me, and I can hear him saying, like, yo, man, his family's deaf, man. He's like, and Artie was like, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. And then 2 minutes later, Tracy is standing next to me, and I can see he wants to start a conversation with me, and he goes, so Greg, your family's like retarded, right? And I was like, retarded? No, man, they're deaf. What do you mean retarded? They're deaf. He goes, okay, so they deaf. So they deaf. So they wear like football helmets and stuff? And I was like, what? No, they're deaf. What is that? They're deaf. Okay, so they deaf. So they can't hear you, right? And I'm like, yeah. Okay, so can they see? Yes, what kind of deaf people have you met? Who can't see, man? What's wrong with you?
Tracy, some of the best conversations I've ever had are with Tracy Morgan.
What was the softball conversation? You guys were on a softball team years ago.
Yeah, a celebrity softball game. This is like the late 90s. Me and Norm played in a celebrity softball game in Arizona, and we were playing against the Arizona Cardinals, and it was like this celebrity team. And Tracy was our pitcher. So they're killing us. They're killing us. And
the Cardinals are killing you guys.
They're killing, and they're winning like 12-0. Tracy's pitching. They're in the middle of a 12-run rally, and the crowd is all Arizona fans. So they're screaming like they love that Arizona's beating us.
Right.
And I throw the ball back to Tracy, and Tracy goes, man, Artie, this crowd is mortified. They're mortified. I said, what do you mean they're happy? He goes, right, they're mortified.
That's like a party that I heard about that a friend of mine was at with Tracy, where he offended some woman who actually stood up and said, get out of this room. And Tracy turned around and looked at my friend and went, come on, Tommy, let's get out of here. Like it was his idea. I love Tracy. I love Tracy.
He's fantastic.
Certifiably insane. So so you were supposed to, I know the reason I'm here is because you were actually supposed to have real celebrities here breaking down the game. So I have their material, and I guess I'm going to read it for you. So.
Yeah, break down, the game as whoever you want.
Yeah, well, Al Pacino was supposed to come in and break down the running back game for you, but he couldn't make it. But I have his script here, so. Here's what you gotta look for. Marshawn Lynch. That's my pick for his physicality. Seattle's speed on defense has ways to account for edge rushing and backfield passing. But everything hinges on Denver's ability to win in The trenches.
I didn't realize he was such a football fan. I mean, that is a real analogy. That's detailed.
Yeah, I guess Christopher Walken was supposed to break down the receivers
Was
for
he?
you.
Was he?
Yeah,
I don't
he
know
couldn't
that.
make it.
All right.
So I'm going to read his script here that he was going to do here. This was
What an odd
Chris-
choice that we chose Christopher Walken to break down the. But it's great that you can do it.
Denver has the better group of receivers from top to bottom. And they could be the only group in the NFL with the ability to pressure Seattle's dominant secondary and frustrate them on Super Bowl Sunday. I guess he didn't have that much
Those
to
are
say.
two of the guys.
Yeah.
Like, if I was going to go to guys to analyze the Super Bowl, Pacino and Walken are two guys I never would have thought.
Yeah, well, you had...
Yet they just know it like frontwards and backwards.
Tom Arnold was your sports guy that was supposed to break down the special teams.
Okay.
So, and Tom couldn't make it, but I got his material. This is what Tom was going to say. All right, so it might not determine who wins on Super Bowl Sunday, but in this team, okay, so this special teams matchup, the Seahawks have the edge once again. They're better in fair and poor weather, which could play a role if Denver's offense isn't quite as high-powered against a strong defense. I love cocaine. And is this true? Andrew Luck was supposed to be here to
I didn't
break
even
down
know.
the-
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That was going to be a surprise for me, I think.
Yeah, Andrew Luck was going to be here to break down your quarterback. So Andrew's not here, so I'm going to read Andrew's material as
Okay,
Andrew.
go ahead. Yeah.
Both passers are great, but Manning's ability to manipulate a defense pre-snap requires no reaction from the defense. He wins head-to-head. Put the lotion in the basket.
That's right. I was trying to think. Who does he sound like? He sounds like put the lotion in the basket.
he does, yeah.
Silence of the Lambs.
Lotion in the
So listen.
Thank you very much.
So I'm always the guy at the beginning of Super Bowl week that fills in for because there's no real celebrities.
Now, when did you start doing Andrew Luck? That's a unique one.
Literally a week ago. I saw him on TV, and it was like, have I never heard this guy talk?
Right.
That's
No,
the
I know. When he
weirdest.
talks, he's odd. He's very like, and he's kind of he keeps his, he's a bright guy, Stanford guy.
Sure.
Right? Where do you go, to Stanford?
Yeah, Stanford with Sherman.
And this guy right here, my friend, John Ritchie, is a Stanford guy.
And you went with, did you know Andrew?
No.
No?
No.
He's the best speaking Stanford guy ever. Apparently, Stanford guys can't talk well, except for now. Now, what do you think? Okay, you're a Seattle guy. What do you think of the Richard Sherman thing? I mean,
You know what?
I don't blame him. The guy's a football player. He was doing what football players do.
A year ago, I heard that there was a guy on my team, the Seahawks, who walked up to Brady and was giving him a hard time.
Right.
And my initial reaction was like, oh, man, who is this guy? And I started reading about it, and come to find out that what happened is during the game, Brady said to Sherman, come see me after the game. Like,
Right.
because Sherman was trying to talk to him and trying to, trying to get psychological on him. He said, you know what? Come see me after the game. We'll see what happens after the game. So after the game, Sherman walked up and said, hey, you mad? You mad, bro? It's after the game. You told me to come talk to you. Are you mad? You mad?
Oh.
And I was like, you know what? That's pretty funny. And then the more I found out about Sherman, the more I find out this kid is like, he's a smart guy. And the other players say, when you say this guy taunts people, it's not like your average, like he's a real psychologist. He's a really smart guy.
Well, that's what he's doing. Yeah, it's part of that psych out thing, too.
And he also spends a lot of time where he grew up in Compton, and he's always going back to the school that he went to, and he's doing charity work all the time. Yeah. And the more I hear about him, the more I go, wow, this is a really well-rounded guy.
He's living in two different worlds, at Compton to the celebrity world of the NFL from Stanford. Like, he's living a very complicated life that he seems to be excelling in everywhere he goes.
And he does like the attention, and he's good at what he does. And he reminds me, is it offensive if I say that he reminds me of Muhammad Ali? He reminds me of a guy who just says, I'm the greatest, and he backs up what he says.
Well, it would be offensive if you said he reminded you of Muhammad Ali now.
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali is like one of his heroes, too.
Well, it seems like Muhammad Ali now would not want to be.
That is a shame.
Well,
Andrew
is that one of his heroes?
reminds me of Muhammad Ali now, all right? But yeah, Sherman is he's exciting. He's exciting to watch.
I think it's going to be, Peyton Manning trying to beat him is going to be great football.
But then you got a quarterback who is an old school guy a really religious guy, spends all of his time in children's hospitals. I mean, it's amazing to me that the kids don't look at him and go, like, are you a patient here? He's always...
Who you told, Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson spends all his time in children's hospitals.
I didn't know that.
And he started volunteering when he first got drafted to the Seahawks. My buddy Rod, who's over there, who's a team photographer.
Okay.
He went to go shoot a day with Russell at the hospital, and he found out the story that Russell called them when he got drafted and said, hey, my name's Russell Wilson. I just got drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. I want to know if I could do some volunteer work with you guys. Maybe come up and they said, who? And they had to Google him, and they were like, yeah, if you want. I mean, yeah, I guess.
That's really unbelievable.
And he started going every week as he was handed the ball and given the position to start last season. And he continued coming every week on his days off and spending time in children's hospitals, even though he's famous now and he's one of the most well-liked guys, one of the most recognizable guys in Seattle. And, you know, he's there's a lot of different personalities on the team. It's really exciting to be a Seahawks fan right now.
It is, man. Well, listen, congrats. Thanks so much for coming, man.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Come
buddy.
back anytime. The great guy. You want to plug anything? Got anything going on?
Just go to my Facebook page if you want to see some weird pictures.
Yes.
Facebook.com/ILoveGas. I love gas with 2 S's. And my Twitter is Craig Gass Comedy. Craig Gass with 2 S's Comedy. Craig Gass Comedy.
Okay. The great Greg. Thanks, man. Great job, buddy.
Good to see you, buddy.
And good to see you. And talk to you soon, man.
Go Seahawks.
Yes. Back after this.
The Artie Lange Show. Weeknights on Audience. Only on DirecTV.